Hello, I believe we are live. Just give me a moment and I'll make sure everything is working fine and we can get started. Okay, everything seems to be working fine except I think the chat is not working for some reason. It has been disabled. I'm not sure why is that, but if you do have any questions, then you can put them in the comment box underneath the video and I'll keep an eye on them and I'll answer them for you. Okay, so let's get the show started. Hello and a very warm welcome to you. My name is Ozair and today is 13th of July 2020, 5 o'clock. As always, in UK, I'm live with these YouTube live stream sessions. These are aimed at anyone who is either starting out, you're either in the beginner level or intermediate or advanced. Everyone is welcome. And I go through various Google Ads workflows, tutorials, and training, and also other topics on digital marketing. If you have any questions you're struggling with, please enter them as we go along and I will answer them for you, or at least I'll try to answer them for you towards the end of the session. But usually the chat box on the right works, but for some reason today I'm getting a message that it is disabled on YouTube, so I'm not sure what happened. I'll try and fix that for you guys tomorrow, but you can enter the questions in the comment box below the video. So I hope you had a great weekend and looking forward to a busy and a productive week ahead. So today I'm going to cover some optimization tips on Google Ads. A lot of people get confused as to what needs to be done, when to do it, how much to optimize, and so on. So I'm going to go through, there are lots of optimization tips which I can give, but I'm just going to break them into chunks of 10 tips, and tomorrow I'm going to cover some more and later on in the week as well. So you can at least break them into small segments and then try and implement those in your campaigns. So let me open up my presentation slides. Okay, so now these are not in any order, or these are not what we can say top 10 tips. These are all optimization tips which you need to do on a regular basis. One thing which I often see in a lot of accounts, especially those accounts which are run by business owners, is they set up the campaigns and nothing is done to them. They are just forgotten. So if that is the case and you are one of those persons who either get too busy or don't know what to do, this is the session for you. So let's get started with the first tip, which is removing your underperforming keywords. And this is a tip which, or something which a lot of people really struggle with, because if you see a keyword spending a lot of your budget and getting lots of clicks, but not getting the conversions you are looking for, or giving you the conversions but at a very high cost per acquisition, then you need to make a decision whether you want to carry on running these keywords or stop them. Because if you do stop those keywords or pause them, you are going to switch that wasted budget to the better performing keywords, and that way you are going to optimize your campaigns and reduce your wasted spend and improve your campaigns going into profitability, because the better performing or the most profitable keywords are going to get more of the budget now, because you spent all the wasted ones on those keywords. So don't be scared of pausing or removing those keywords which are wasting you budget, even if they are what you may feel or think are your most relevant keywords. The ones which come to mind are single word keywords. So they are the worst types because they're too broad, and you really ought to have at least 2 or 3 word keywords so that you can see what's happening and what's not happening. A pro tip I can give you is the use of filters. You can quite easily use filters if you've got lots of keywords in your ad groups and campaigns. Use filters, filter them out to, let's say, a keyword which has got 50 clicks or more but 0 conversions, and you can save those filters in your account, and every time you go into that workflow of cutting out those underperforming keywords, you can just click on that filter and you will get all the results straight away, so you don't need to keep creating that filter over and over again. The next one is keep on adding negative keywords, and the way which I've always said before is to create an account level negative keyword list, and you keep adding that those keywords to that negative keyword account list. So then that, as long as that list is applied to all your enabled campaigns, all the negative keywords in that list will be applied to all throughout your account. So you don't need to keep applying that same keyword to multiple campaigns, because you have just got one master negative keyword list. But all you need to do is to make sure to remember to apply that list to all the campaigns as you are creating more campaigns as you go along. Then you keep on adding new keywords. So as your campaigns gathers data, what you want to do is to go into your search term report and see which search terms are getting impressions, clicks, conversions, or whichever metric which is important to you. You keep on adding them to the relevant ad group, or create a new ad group for that search query. Because if you are getting a lot of impressions and clicks and so on, but you have not added that keyword into your campaign, then you ought to be doing that. And another pro tip I can give you is the use of filters. Filters are a great way to manage all your data, especially when you've got hundreds or thousands of keywords or search terms. You save a filter, for example, impressions greater than 100, or whatever that metric is, because it really depends on how small or big that account is. And then you save it along with another metric, say conversion greater than 0, which means that it has converted as a search term query. Go into your keywords and make sure that all of them are eligible, and none of them have got the low volume status, because that will stop your broad modified keywords running through. So low volume keywords don't run as such, and you will find that there's hardly any impressions coming through to them, and they just make your account a lot more bulky. So I would say you absolutely remove these low volume keywords. Then you should also review your Max CPCs if you are bidding on manual level, because if you are running smart campaigns, then you don't need to worry about reviewing the CPC, because Google Ads is going to take care of itself. But what you also want to do is to make sure that none of your bids are below the first page bid. If that is so, that means you are losing out on impression share, you are being outranked by your competitors, and also you will not get any impressions, clicks, and the keywords will hardly run. So what I would say is, just if you do find keywords which are below first page bid, and bid them up slowly but surely, and I personally don't double up. I increase it in increments of 15% or 20% until that message disappears. And also then I look at how competitive my bids are. So if I'm losing out on a lot of search impression share, then I know for a fact that my bids are not competitive enough, because Google took away the average position last year, and you can't see what your average ad position is for your ads. So the best way to look at it is having a look at the search impression share. Do test out branded keywords, and if you are selling branded products, then by all means run them. And I would imagine, and I know for a fact that these are the better performing, or one of the best performing campaigns you are going to run at the lowest CPA, because people know that brand, whether it is Nike or Apple or Samsung or whatever, they know exactly what that brand is. So you must bid. But you can also, what you can do is set up a competitor brand campaign. So if your competitors are a well-known brand and big in their industry, then you should always test it and see how it works. Sometimes it doesn't work, because what happens is sometimes other people are looking for your competitor's phone number, or they want to speak to their customer support and so on. So you might get a lot of clicks or calls asking for that particular company's support team. So in that case, if that is the case, I would stop running those branded keywords. But you'll find if it's for your own brand, absolutely you should bid, because what you want to do is to take the top spot of Google, so your competitors' ads don't come above yours, even though you might have organic rankings. And I've heard this and seen this a lot when my customers have said, well, why should I pay for that click when I'm number one for my branded term? Well, if your competitor is bidding on your brand, which they can do quite easily, anybody can bid on each other's brand terms, their ad will show up right at the top, because the organic rankings are quite below. You have the 4 ads, then the Google Maps, and then the organic ranking. So you want your ad to come up, and the branded search terms in most cases cost the least as well. So the cost per click is not very high. After you have run your campaign for a little while, you review the campaign structure, and by that I mean look at the device and see how much traffic you are getting on the computer, mobile, and the tablet. If you find one of these devices is performing really well or not performing very much, you can obviously bid adjust. But the other thing you also want to look at is if the mobile is eating up all of the budget and the other 2 devices are not getting a look in. And that is the case with pretty much every campaign. The mobile traffic is going to be the most. So what I tend to do is to split them out and have a separate campaign for mobile with its own budget, have a separate campaign for the computer with its own budget. So then you can split the budget however you want, but at least the computer's budget will not be eaten up or taken up by mobile. Okay, then once you've got a fair amount of data, you can split up your ad groups as well. So you can look at the keywords and the ones which are performing the best in respect to the number of conversions, or the cost per conversion is pretty low, then you can take them into its own ad group and bid accordingly, because you don't want to be outranked or outbidded on those keywords. Those are your golden nuggets, and those are the winners. So you can name those ad groups as the keyword and then bracket winners or something like that. Or you can make up a separate campaign. If you are limited by budget, take them into its own campaign and then run them over there, so that these should never be restricted by budget. The winning keywords as well as the brand terms always have enough and sufficient budget. And also the one more campaign tab which you should never be limited by budget is with remarketing campaigns. So you must have enough budget so that these ones get the most budget, as they are performing the best. When you are writing ads, Google best practice is to capitalize each word. So you can see over here I've written WYALNT as the first letter as capitals. Never write the whole word or the whole line in capitals, it will get disapproved. So the way to make your ads stand out a bit more than your competitors is absolutely capitalize each letter of each word. If you offer free delivery, free consultation, free ebook, or free strategy calls, or anything like that, absolutely 100% use the word free in your ads, because that is the most powerful word for any kind of ads, and that is going to attract that click, that is going to attract your potential clients who are looking at your campaigns, or beg your pardon, at your ads, and they don't have any obligation. So if you're doing a free consultation, then you should write in one of the headlines at least, free no obligation consultation. Or if you are delivering free deliveries for e-commerce or restaurants or takeaways, then you can put in free and fast delivery, or free same-day delivery, or it could be free delivery within 3 hours, which a lot of e-commerce websites are now offering a delivery within a matter of hours. So you need to put the word for free absolutely in there. Every time I will use that. Another one which instead of free, if you don't offer free and you are offering a paid consultation, for example, then put the price in, because you don't want to attract a click when, if I can't afford your fee, I don't want to click and waste your budget. So if I'm offering a, let's say, £100 consultation, then I would put in £100 1 hour consultation, or whatever it may be. Somebody sees that and they find that £100 is too much for them, then they probably will not click on that ad, and I will save myself that click price cost. And putting up prices on your ads also pre-qualifies your visitors to your website. So that's what I would always do, is to either put the word free in or put the price in. If you have a range of prices, then you can start with the word from and then the price. So you can say from £100, and then if somebody is happy with that price, then they probably will click and come to my website or landing page to see my offer. So I'm sorry, I'm not sure what happened with the chat being disabled for this live stream, so I can't see any questions from those of you watching live. So I'll get that sorted out for tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed this live stream, and thanks for joining in. And I look forward to seeing you same time tomorrow. Till then, stay safe and goodbye.